Good morning. It's Friday, May 1st, and I don't know if you can tell or not, but my rhodie in the back is beginning to bloom. So hopefully by next week when I visit with you, that'll be just covered with red blooms. It's one of the highlights of my backyard. It's good to be with you today. I hope that you've made it through this week okay and that you are doing well. Our prayers continue from Celtic Prayers from Iona with John Philip Newell. Take a moment and just get comfortable where you are. Prayer is not something that you rush into. It's something that you settle into as part of your routine of being present and not just going through the motions. So I hope you're able to be present this morning. Our call to prayer begins with Psalm 139. Where can I go from your spirit, O God? So let's settle in and be still and be aware of God's presence within us always and around us, surrounding us. I awake this morning in the presence of the holy angels of God. May heaven open wide before me, above me, and around me, that I may see the Christ of my love and his sunlit company in all the things of earth this day. Our first reading continues with retelling of stories of Genesis by John Philip Newell. Isaac, the promised son of Abraham and Sarah, married Rebekah. And she was a beautiful woman who, as a girl, had lived by a fresh spring of water. Isaac loved her, and she gave birth to two twin boys, Esau and Jacob. And when they grew up, Esau began to hate Jacob. And Rebekah, afraid that she would lose both her sons if they fought, sent Jacob away to a distant land until Esau could forget his anger. As Jacob journeyed, he came one night to an open place under the stars, and he lay down to sleep. And as he slept, he dreamt of a ladder. It touched the heavens, and its base rested on the earth. Angels of God traveled up and down the ladder. One of the angels stood beside him and said, "Know that I am with you and will keep you wherever you go. I will never leave you and will bring you back to this land." Then Jacob woke from his sleep and said, "God is in this place and I did not know it. This is the gate of heaven and I am in the presence of God." So he called the place Bethel, which means house of God. Many years later, God did bring Jacob back. He returned with family and treasure, with camels and cattle. But in the night, Jacob worried about meeting his brother the next day. He wrestled with his fears and with the angel of God who was leading him. They struggled through the night until the break of day. And Jacob said to the angel, "I will not let go unless you bless me." So the angel replied, "You will no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have wrestled with God and survived." And the angel blessed him. But from that day, Jacob walked with a limp, for he had been wounded in his struggle with the angel. And when the day's light had fully broken, Jacob looked and saw his brother coming. And Esau ran to him and kissed him, and together they wept. And Jacob said to his brother, "Seeing your face is like seeing the face of God, for you have welcomed me back with love." And our reading from Psalms is Psalm 20. May the Lord answer you on the day of distress. The name of Jacob's God make you safe. May he send help to you from the sanctum, and from Zion may he sustain you. May he recall all your grain offerings, and your burnt offerings may he relish. May he grant you what your heart would want, and all your counsels may he fulfill. Let us sing gladly for your rescue, and in our God's name our banner raise. May the Lord fulfill all your desires. Now do I know that the Lord has rescued his anointed. He has answered him from his holy heavens. In the might of his right hand's rescue. They, the chariots, and they, the horses, but we the name of the Lord our God invoke. They have tumbled and fallen, but we arose and took heart. O Lord, rescue the King. May he answer us on the day we call. Stoney's taken a little spot of looking over the yard carefully because it's his kingdom. You might be able to see him there. And many of you have mentioned enjoying Stoney and his antics in my backyard. And a while back I stumbled across a poem which speaks to dogs, and I thought you might enjoy it. It's entitled The Dogs in Dutch Paintings by David Graham. And those of you who attend worship at First Christian know that I am attracted to religious paintings that have animals in them, and often will point out the dog or the cat that might be laying about in the painting. The first one I ever remember seeing was at the Art Institute of Chicago, because that's when, you know, you always remember your first or second art museum, and that was the big one in my childhood. And there's a painting, oh gosh, I think it's probably 8 feet wide. It's huge, humongous, and it's The Wedding at Cana by Crespi, 17th century. And Jesus is lounging, talking to his mother, and underneath his leg is this dog just sprawled out. And on the other side of the painting, near where the taster is tasting the new wine, is a cat rolled over on its back. So it's quite a tradition of animals in religious paintings, and this poem speaks to it. The Dogs in Dutch Paintings by David Graham. How shall I not love them, snoozing right through the Annunciation? They inhabit the outskirts of every importance, sprawled dead center in each oblivious household. They're digging at fleas or snapping at scraps, dozing with noble abandon while a boy bells their tails. Often they present their rumps in the foreground of some martyrdom. What Christ could lean so unconcernedly against a table leg, the feast above continuing? Could the Virgin in her joy match this grace as a hound sagely ponders an upturned turtle? No scholar at his huge book will capture my eye so well as the skinny haunches, the frazzled tails, and serene optimism of the least of these mutts, curled in the corners of the world's dazzlement. Curled in the corners of the world's dazzlement. I love that. I invite you to spend a moment reflecting on our story of Jacob and Esau, on our psalm, and on the dogs in Dutch paintings. O God of life, of all life, of each life, I offer you my prayers in the love of Christ, in the affection of Christ, in the company of Christ. As your own household desires in heaven, so may I desire on earth this day. Let's pray for the coming day and for the life of our world. The love and affection of the angels be with me. The love and affection of the saints be with me. The love and affection of heaven be with me, to lead me and to cherish me this day. Amen. Thank you for joining me today for morning prayer. As always, be well, be kind, and be the church where you are. I'll see you next week.